Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose here with Jessica Bunbun, and this is our True Detective Night Country episode 5 preview. But we've also got some pretty breaking news here, like right out of the jump.
Okay, let's talk Super Bowl because that is coming up this weekend. And because of that, there's going to be a little bit of shifting around of when and where you're going to be able to watch this next episode of True Detective.
Okay, so here's how things are going to play out here. You're going to be able to see this upcoming episode Friday in the typical time slot, so
Mhm.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you're streaming on Max, you will be able to see it then.
Yeah.
On HBO, it's still going to air on Sunday
Mhm.
in the same time slot it always has. So if you're not watching the Super Bowl, I know one person who is not watching the Super Bowl this year, and that is Liz Danvers in her sad Minnesota Vikings outfit.
Oh.
Here's what Liz Danvers threw away all of her Super Bowl party supplies right after she tossed that turkey on this past
Oh.
episode. She's just even more sad than she already was. But no, that's what's going on. Our plan, of course, is that we're going to have our review of episode 5
Mhm.
up on the channel. Like after it streams, you'll be able to check it out on Max, and then you'll be able to come back here and, hear what we got to say about it.
Yeah, so we're going to have our review up here on Friday.
Yeah. So before we go further here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys do not miss anything else on True Detective Night Country that is coming up, including another theory video that is going to be posted tomorrow, all
Mhm.
about whether or not there is a sickness that has taken out a lot of these people in Ennis, Alaska.
Okay, let's get right into Navarro because she had a really heavy episode. The last episode, there was a lot of focus on her. And it seems like at the beginning of this preview, there's a lot more on her as well, where we're getting all these sort of like flashes of, she's awake and people pointing at her, all these different ghosts and people who, aren't with us anymore. And it feels very much like Navarro might be a key to being able to sort of unravel a lot of this.
She's clearly holding something, and I think it's some sort of secret that not even she is fully aware of, and it's something that not even Julia may have been aware of as either, because I mean,
Yeah.
both of them have seen things. Navarro is clearly like going back into certain elements of her past. I think
Yeah.
that place that she is seeing, because we see it in this promo too, I think this is something that happened to her back in the military. It's kind of like an orangish hue on the sky. That's where, we did see Navarro in the past alongside Holden. Like there's something about that place that I think we need some sort of answer on that may be informing
Yeah.
how she's acting.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've spoken a lot in these videos about the idea of trauma and
Yeah.
loneliness and how a lot of that can affect your memories and even being able to tap into your memories. Like trauma can really put things in the back of your head and then they'll come up in different ways depending on what's happening in your life. And it feels like this case is really bringing forward a lot of different things for Navarro. And if this case is connected to Annie K, where it seems like maybe, from this preview, we got Danvers on board too, where she's
Yeah.
talking to her boss, being like, these are connected. And he's like, I don't care. You're going to shut it down.
Yeah.
That if that's the case, then it feels like a lot of stuff that maybe Navarro has pushed away is finally coming up and she may have answers.
I think we're in a spot here where I know it's so easy to just sort of be like Danvers and Navarro need each other, but like they really, really need each other at this point because depending on how you want to take the end of this past episode where we saw Julia in that frozen form,
Mhm.
I think it's starting to become clear Navarro is getting worse and she might be. It might be a situation where she's on the road to becoming something similar to what happened to Julia or what happened to the scientists. Like that could be happening to her, but that doesn't have to conquer her. I mean, we see other people that are kind of going through it. Otis is still out there. It's possible that Clark is still out there. I mean, who knows? All we kind of know is that he's kind of just like gone. Is he in the night country or wherever else? Who is to say really? But she may need Danvers to sort of be her North Star to kind of help her to stay focused to kind of get through whatever she's getting through. But Danvers also needs Navarro if Navarro is really the key to kind of getting some answers that might be buried away somewhere in her subconscious.
And speaking of needing people, are they going to need Hank? Because it seems like it's possible, sort of, this idea of Danvers sort of offering something to Hank that he might be able to sort of do like a, back and forth. I'll do this for you if you do this for me sort of thing. And it feels like it's probably going to be around the case because, we saw Danvers' boss show up and be like, this is all getting shut down. You're
Mhm.
done with this. It doesn't matter if it's connected. Like he's
Yeah.
just like, do. Something else is going on. We're just going to back out the door here and you're going to stop and Navarro's going to stop and everybody's going to stop because we also see this scene with Navarro and Danvers where basically she's telling Navarro, like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, we're being told to stop. We have to stop. And Navarro's like, no, like we can't. If that's the case and they're both plucked from this case, then like who's there that can continue to help? We've got Pete, of course, he's there as well, but I'm sure he'll be told the same thing. You can't. But Hank has been a little involved, but not really involved. Not as much as Danvers has been. So maybe if she's taken off completely, she might be like, hey, Hank, you want to do something for me? Maybe I can help you out with something.
So, okay, there's a couple of really interesting questions to think about. Like, question number one here is why does Connolly, Christopher Eccleston, you're a former doctor. You should want justice. You should want good things in the world. But no, Connolly, why is he all of a sudden being like, nah, you guys got to close this. Like, you got to find a way to get away from this when you haven't been doing that before. Is this just a situation where you're trying to just like bring people from Anchorage in to do it? It's too big for us, or is there something else that's going on here? Because this is the idea of, and you mentioned this idea of, oh, what's going on here is connected to the Annie K case. And
Mhm.
if Connolly, tinfoil hat time, everybody,
Oh, all right.
if
Let's go
Connolly
theories.
is in with Big Mine, and I
Mhm.
kind of feel like he is getting paid or something's going on there with the mine, or something's going on there with him and Annie K, where he knows more about the Annie K case than he's let on. Like he wasn't in much of a hurry to solve the Annie K case. Like it's been out there for a really long time. It seems like Navarro has been the only person who has really cared about that for a long time. He might have been okay with them sort of looking into the Salal thing because it doesn't have anything directly to do with him, or if it does, he may have just been like, I know they're not going to figure it out, but I can't be like, shut this case down right now. But now you may have crossed the bridge too far with him, and now all of a sudden he is a little bit like, no, 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 no. I have not seen Connolly do a single thing on this show that makes me think that he is going to facilitate justice, success. All I've seen him do is be curmudgeon-y, get
Mhm.
mad at Jodie Foster, and, to have Danvers and him hook up. Like, that's really been, like, the biggest stuff that we have seen from this guy in, like, the amount of time he's been available.
Yeah, it feels like this particular episode, the mines are going to play a really big role in this. I mean, the promos got, everybody's getting, it's heating up against the mines like big time, big time. In the synopsis is mentioned about the mines as well.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like if this is about the mines or the mines has any sort of role in this is where, the rubber's going to hit the road.
Yeah, and it seems like these mines are probably also going to be a direct factor in what's going on here with Connolly and with telling Danvers and Navarro to shut it down. Apparently, in this episode, once again, per the synopsis, Connolly's going to share the official cause of the Salalman's death with, the
The
Silver.
official
Yeah.
cause.
What is that, by the way? It would be nice if we knew the official cause of this, because we don't clearly at the moment.
Listen, who knows if that's even going to be real or
Yeah.
not? He may be putting something in as the official
Yeah.
clause that he can like make look like it is to protect the mines if that's what's
Yeah.
going on.
But it's like he's going to be telling all this to Kate, that head of the mines, but it's like, why are you telling this to her anyway?
Right?
Like, it's not her business, unless, of course,
No.
there's something more going on here vis-a-vis that the mines are also a part of Tuttle United and we just don't know it, and that
Mhm.
Connolly is also a part of Tuttle United in some shape or form, and that he is out to protect the best interest of that group, because then that furthers along this theme of conflict between, everybody, the indigenous people of this area, and
Mhm.
then the mines, the police. Like, there's these constant forces that are fighting each other, and all of that seems like it's going to be coming to a head here.
Yeah, just because Kate is like the executive of the mines doesn't mean she, is the
Yeah.
only person who's like, I put all the money into it. These are my mines.
Yeah.
Usually with something that's that big of an operation, there's a couple hands that are in that pie. And as Pete had mentioned in the past, the Tuttle United has their hands in all kinds of pies, including the lab.
Yeah, and I think it's very easy to sort of look at that and see that it's possible. And we've said this before. We don't necessarily think that every single thing this season is going to tie into season 1,
No.
but at the same time, it's clearly connected. There's
Yep.
clearly something that's meant to be said here. There's some sort of conversation that's happening between the seasons. I think
Mhm.
they are going to further that. I would be shocked if the name Tuttle or something tied to season 1 is not mentioned again for the rest of the season. I'll just go ahead and say that here.
Yeah.
The other like super big question right now is that they just found out, they being Danvers and Navarro,
Mhm.
that Clark is out in the night country now. Where are they going to go to look for him? Because it is just sort of the thing. It's like Clark might still be out there. Like, who knows? But you're not going to probably take anything that Otis, who is clearly knocking on death's door anyway, like, how much are you going to take that as gospel?
And he's wearing Clark's jacket. So is he just like no jacket gone? Because I mean, Otis's words were like, he's gone. So
Yeah.
it's like, is he gone? Like he's dead somewhere?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a coat. He's out in the night country with no coat. Okay. Like, so then what does that mean?
Yeah, I feel like what the show needs to do is give us Clark at the end of episode 5, or at the very least, tell us where Clark is, because this is kind of the echo to season 1, where at the penultimate episode of season 1, we really
Mhm.
see Childress. We spend a lot
Yeah.
of time with Childress, and it's just like, okay, we're really gearing up for some sort of showdown here. And the big risk with this being, a 6-episode season is
Mhm.
just that there's not a lot of time left to really analyze all these sort of things.
No, there isn't, but it feels like there is enough time to tie a lot of this up. Like they did a really good job in this past episode, like really ramping it up and bringing in some pieces that we just didn't really know.
Yeah, so there's a couple of loose ends that I think we should all kind of keep our eyes peeled on
Mhm.
for episode 5 when it comes to figuring out how exactly they fit into the story. One of them
Yeah.
you already mentioned, and that is Hank, which we've seen enough of
Yeah.
Hank on this season for some sort of specific reason. I don't think it's just been so that we can laugh at him when Arena doesn't show up on the plane. Like, there's got to be something more to him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Hank was specifically mentioned in this synopsis as well about this sort of deal that's going to come up. So,
Yeah.
like, I think he's got a bigger role to play. It's not
Yep.
just like, oh, his wife, fiance didn't show up, and now he has no more role to play. I think he does.
The other important person here is Leah. And I'm not saying that Leah knows what's going on at the Salal station. Leah's not going to come up and be
No.
like the light shining down on everybody. But I think where we're going with Leah is that she's sort of been representing this, indigenous movement throughout this
Mhm.
season and making sure that the history, the culture, the land is being recognized. And there's been this real tension between her and Danvers. I think they're eventually going to kind of come together. And I think that sort of moment is going to help Danvers to sort of realize that whatever is going on with the entirety of this show, it's due to what's being done to disrupt this community, what's being done
Yeah.
to sort of corrupt it in this sort of way. And that's going to help her see the light. And hopefully that's going to help us get some answers.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for that. I mean, we saw Leah getting knocked down in this promo. So, I mean, Danvers is not going to take that well,
Yeah.
obviously. I mean, hopefully she's not going to get killed or anything
Yeah.
during this. But that might be the thing that connects them back together again.
One last question. What's going on with Pete? Like, what is he doing in this preview?
Yeah, that's okay. That's the thing about Pete. So we saw that Danvers gave Pete kind of this not made up story, but kind of. She lied to him. So everything that happened with Wheeler in the past, she had told Pete that when she showed up, Wheeler was dead. And
Yeah.
either that's true and the memory that we're seeing is just not true. I think that they lied to everybody and said that he was dead and he wasn't. And I think Pete knows it, that there is more to this story than what Danvers is saying. Because I mean, he even went to his dad and was kind of like, What really happened between Navarro and Danvers and
Yeah.
that whole thing? And his dad was like, stop. Like, so I don't know if that means that Hank knows a little bit or he doesn't, or he's just like, don't like pick at this for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
stop. You don't need to do this. But it looks like we've got this scene in the promo where she's telling him to stop poking around, and then she closes her laptop. Like maybe he had tried to come in and look over her shoulder. She's digging into something from the past with Wheeler. Because we did see in this last episode, Navarro and Danvers had a very short but important conversation about Wheeler and a little bit of what she saw Navarro in the past at Wheeler's place.
I I have to have a conversation here with Pete. My guy Pete, I understand your desire for answers. We all as humans want closure in our lives. However, I will advise you of this. There are multiple dead scientists. There is also Navarro's sister is now dead. Your marriage seems like it may very well be dead. Is this the best use of your time at the moment?
100%. I agree. Like, I know that this is obviously a device so that we can all find out what
Yeah,
happened with Danvers and Navarro, but there's other ways to kind of go about it. Yeah, Pete has so much on his plate right now
yeah,
that he's just like a waiter balancing like 10 plates. And
yeah,
then he's like, you know what? Put this Danvers plate right on my head here.
yeah.
I can carry one more for no reason.
You don't have to impress us, Pete. Just go and do your job. Like everything else will come together.
Yeah.
But that's our preview for True Detective Night Country episode 5. Like we said earlier, next episode is coming on Friday.
Yes.
We will have our review. Then tomorrow
Yeah.
we are going to have our new theory about a possible sickness that is the cause of death for a lot of these people.
Yep.
Be sure you check that out. Hit that subscribe button. Click that box right there if you want to watch our True Detective theory all about twist and shout, what's going on there.
Yep.
Thank you to our patrons
Thank you.
as well. We have exclusive content at our Patreon. You can join that in the description below, and we'll see you guys here next time.